On the edge of town, I saw a girl. Hey guys, welcome to the shack. Here we are in the shop another day. Just enjoying a great Wednesday afternoon. This is our third podcast, and I know you guys are concerned about the sound quality and everything that's going on. We're working on it, so each time, hopefully it gets better and better and better, because we buy a microphone a week until we have all the microphones that we need. So getting there, all is well. So today's today's topic, we want to talk knives. Is that the plan?
Yep, today's topic is going to be where your fascination with knives began.
Where your fascination with knives began. Mike, if just in case, because I want to know where everyone's fascination came from, where can they post or email their fascinations
They can
with knives?
email us at info@ltwrightknives.com, or they can jump on our social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Do we have Twitter? Are we on Twitter? I thought so.
I think we do have a Twitter.
I don't generally get on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's introduce everybody who's here today. I'm LT.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
Scooter.
So we are all here, and we're going to tell you our fascination, where fascination with knives started. Who wants to go first?
You.
Okay, I get to go first. Wow. Man, the first thing I can remember, like, really messing with knives, me and my buddy used to go out in the woods, and I was probably, 6, 7, 8 years old. I'm trying to think of the year. It would have been 1971, too, something like that. And just running around the woods, and then naturally, everyone likes Tarzan and cool stuff like that. I remember my grandfather was real into Tarzan movies, so I remember seeing Tarzan carry that knife on his hip, the old Johnny Weissmuller stuff. And the funny thing is, years later as an adult, I was able to see the fact that that was a wooden knife and they just painted it up. I thought that was kind of weird, because as a kid, you're like, oh man, this is really cool, Tarzan knife. So naturally I wanted something like a Tarzan knife. Well, as I got a little bit older, I started thinking, I saw John Wayne movies, and I think I saw the Alamo when I was young, and first found out about Jim Bowie, and then who doesn't want a Bowie knife? Because I definitely wanted one. However, I didn't get one at that time. What I did get was a Herder's catalog knife. Have any of you young guys ever heard of the Herder's catalog?
No.
You're shaking your head, yes.
Sort of, well, similar things. I've had that described to me by other, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but in other more seasoned gentlemen have explained the Herder's catalog to me.
That's okay. I'm older than you guys.
But yeah, sort of similar to the Lehman's catalog these days, it sounds like.
Probably, yeah. I guess that would be a good reference. But the Herder's knife, it actually was a wooden handled. Best thing I can say is it was a butcher knife looking thing with a hump on the back. But interestingly, at that time I didn't know what a Kephart design was, or even thought. But now, looking back at that knife, it was very Kephart design-ish. It had hickory handles. It was probably a 1095 blade, very thin, like a 3/32 kind of thing. But it had a thumb hump on the back, which was real interesting. And in the wooden handles, it had like a Herder's brand, Herder's catalog brand in it. I can't remember that. But these things were super inexpensive at the time. Well, my dad had one of those, and I kind of got to play with that. So that is the knife I went out, and we messed around in the woods, and my buddy had a plastic-handled, guarded little 3 or 4 inch Bowie looking kind of blade. And those were the two. I remember these two knives specifically. I mean, if I saw them today, I would know who they were, his and mine. And they were just corny as heck, and we would just do whatever in the heck you could think of. Just sharpening sticks is basically the main thing that we would do with them. But it was a lot of fun. Do you remember those things that you could I think they were called a label maker, and it shot out a little plastic thing, and you could put
with
your...
a squeeze handle
yeah.
and a dial on
Is that a label maker?
They had a
Sort
fancy
of.
name.
It was like an embossed thing.
It's like
Something
the
in-
zipper thing or something.
Yeah, you squeezed it, and then you could peel the plastic off, and it's stuck on. Well, we wrote our names out on that thing, and then peeled them off and stuck them on the handles of our knives. That's how goofy we were. But that was a cool thing. I remember that, like in my knife fascination, that probably started it. And from there, again, still wanting a Bowie knife. And then my dad used to get Field and Stream and probably, what's the other one? Outdoor Life, and probably 2 or 3 other ones back in those days. And he would sit in his recliner after work and read them. Well, I would lay on the floor and thumb through these things. Not reading the stories, didn't care about the stories, but I cared about the ads. And I remember this certain ad that was like K-bar knives. It was the same thing that the Navy or the Marine used or something. But they were like $5. It was, and I say K-bar because I don't remember if it was them or a different brand, but you know what the style I'm talking about. Like the old, what everyone calls the K-bar knife.
Yeah.
And man, did I want one of those things. It was like the Sears Christmas catalog, just sitting there looking at this neat knife in an ad in Outdoor Life or Field and Stream. That was such a fun thing.
Yeah.
So I never actually got one of those, believe it or not. I had that Herder's knife for years. I still think I have it at home somewhere. I'd have to look that one up. So I had that, and then one Christmas, and I'm not 100% sure how old I was, I got a Buck 124. Okay, and if you know what a Buck 124 is, it's very much like a Bowie knife. I was so excited about that thing. I carried it everywhere. I carried it probably until about 10 years ago, even hunting with me. Now, I never field dressed anything with that knife, but it was just, I liked having that Buck 124 with me. I love that knife a lot.
Is that the folding one?
No, it's a Bowie looking knife, and it has like the black. If it's not micarta, it's some other one of those.
Oh, the black. It's
they're standard black handles.
It's
on
not
the
Delrin.
something like that. I don't remember that.
Is that reinforced plastic?
It's no. I think that's very similar to what Case uses, but it's that yellow stuff for them.
I'm pretty sure it was not micarta.
No, not micarta, but
And it
that
had
would be a
aluminum or
cool
stainless
upgrade.
hardware front and rear. Very cool knife. Love that thing. Had a black leather sheath with like a sheath with a button snap on it. So I had that, and I probably still have that in a drawer at home somewhere. Many different things. But I mean, as my first fascination, where did it all start? It would have had to been like those are the memories that come to mind for me as, going out and messing around in the woods with my buddy and us each having a knife. And then I found this old, odd-looking thing in the basement one time, and I asked my dad what it was, and he said, well, that used to be a big old meat cleaver, and he made it into a knife. Now, again, I'm probably 10, 11 years old. There was no sheath for this thing, and it was, the handles were horrible looking. This was ground out with like an angle grinder. It was very, very primitive, but it was cool to me. So it had no sheath, and I remember taking an old canvas, might have been a quiver from a bow and arrow set, and rolling it down to where the knife would just stick into the bottom of it with just enough handle to grab out of it, and had a couple slits in it and tied some, probably didn't even have paracord then, probably some leather, some leather strips, and made a sheath for that thing. And then I carried that for a long time. I wish I could find that one, because if you guys saw that I was so fascinated by it. It's such an ugly knife, but man, did I like that thing so much.
Isn't that funny though? How that seems pretty regular. Where it's like I know that I've had that experience too, where I had something and I thought it was just super awesome, premium, and now looking back, I'm like, wow, that was a little rough. Like the first knife I ever forged, that was really rough.
Oh yeah, but I mean that's where all my fascination started was, getting to go hunting with your dad. That was cool. Looking through his magazines and just looking at those knives and hoping to one day own one. And now we get to make them all the time. So that is probably my first jump into the fascination of knives.
You said that was a Buck 124?
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out that is my card on there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it was. I hadn't messed with that knife in a long time. But it was a black handle, and it had silver hardware, probably aluminum front and back.
Yeah, it says aluminum
Pins.
pommel, guard, pins and black micarta scales.
Yep. I like it. I had a clip on the front,
Mm-hmm.
hollow ground.
Yep.
It was a very cool knife.
Yep.
I
You
like
can
that
still get them
quite a
on
bit.
Midway USA.
Yeah. So that's where my fascination started. Who's next?
Ooh, pick me.
Why, certainly. Go on.
Sounds good.
I have to say that I think that ultimately I never really had like a true fascination with knives, but when I was a kid and I would watch MacGyver and he would whip out his Swiss Army knife and like make all kinds of stuff, I started to like get in my head that you needed a tool to carry with you. So the first opportunity that I got, I picked up a Swiss Champ, that Mime Jam Swiss Army knife. And I actually got it in Switzerland at a Swiss Army knife store.
Wow, you went right to the source.
Yes.
Which
And
one's the champ?
It's the one with the magnifying glass and the pliers.
I have that
It's
one.
like this wide.
Yes, it's like a toolbox all by itself. Feels like it in your pocket
So
too.
I had that and I carried that for a long time until I lost it in a recliner. And magically enough, I found it years later in that recliner when it got stuck, and I flipped it over to figure out what was wrong with it. The knife was wedged into the mechanism. So I still have that knife to this day. But when I lost the Swiss Army knife is when I got my first Leatherman, the super tool, like this super, very early on super tool, and I ran that for probably 10 years till it broke and had them warranty it and got a new Super Tool 300 and
Yep.
also bought a Super Tool 300. So
Super Tool's the one I got, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I like that one.
I remember the bits and pieces of that first Leatherman. That was sad. Didn't you say you lost one in a parking lot one time too? Oh, that's
Scooter
rough.
and I were taking a trailer somewhere and we stopped at the Advanced Auto Parts or AutoZone and was messing with the wiring on the back and I left it on the bumper or something and it was
Man, we could maybe do an episode about that. Knives we've lost. That's rough.
Yeah.
That's a painful situation.
Yeah, we could probably do one of the traded or sold that you wish you still had.
Yeah. The ones you regret.
these two could just fill up an episode on that stuff they traded back and forth between each
Oh,
other.
I'm sure. They probably own each other's knives. still.
Actually, the knife in my pocket right now used to be Scooter's. He bought it at a blade show, and then I got it off of him, and then I traded it back to him at one point for something else, and then I got it again. So it's been
I think we've done it with a gun too.
a couple times. But yeah.
And oddly enough, I have a gun that I got from both of these guys.
One.
I got
Oh.
a Glock 17 from him and a Glock 43 from him.
Dang it. Right on.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you just outgrow certain things.
It's
there's
better to
nothing
have
wrong
a
with
bigger toy box.
It goes through those ebbs and flows. You get a lot of toys sometimes, and then you figure out which ones you really love, and then you kind of move on. But it is true. Sometimes you definitely regret it.
Well, knives definitely do that. I mean, you get into the habit of carrying something for an EDC for a while, and then for whatever reason,
Not me.
But yes, that is true. Yeah, you definitely. I know I fall into like patterns like that sometimes, where I'll carry a knife for a while, and then something new will come along, and I'm fascinated by it. But in fact, Mike, I'm surprised you haven't tried any of the new the Leatherman Free stuff, the magnetic closure and everything.
I'm crazy about that.
No?
I've not gravitated to any of the Leatherman stuff that has the like one-handed knives on the outside.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't.
Doesn't do it for you?
Yeah,
You like
I
that
like-
classic style?
I like the Leatherman with the real tools in it, and those interchangeable bits on the screwdrivers. I'm not a fan.
I gotcha.
everybody has a different flow for it.
I follow a guy on Instagram who actually takes different Leathermans apart and puts them together. So he took a Leatherman Wave and a rebar, I think, and he put them together and he calls it the Rave. Pretty interesting
That'd be cool.
how you combine the tools. You get a pocket clip if you do that. So nice features. Interesting idea. Max Level EDC, if you check him out on Instagram, has some really fun videos and pictures. So
I always like those. Is it Swiss Bianchi?
yeah, Swiss Bianchi makes cool
I like
scales.
some of his stuff too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you've had some of them, haven't you? Scott?
Yes. Just recently I had one in my hand for our last podcast.
Yeah. No, I like your stuff. Good things.
For sure. For sure.
Mikey, you still great on your fascination? Or where we
That's pretty
at?
much it. I mean, I didn't really get into fixed blades until I started, well, till Scooter started working here, and then I got,
Tiger Nap?
yes,
I thought so, yeah.
totally blanked on that one. I'm like, I
That's
can
the
see
only
it.
one
I
we
wore
had
it inverted
scales on,
tied
right?
On my hip for years. But folders, I went through a bunch of stuff. I had my little slip joint phase, and I felt like I was going to break them, so I quickly gravitated over towards more tactical stuff and stuff that was a little beefier.
You should probably go ahead and tell them the Emerson story now and,
Oh, come on.
and get it out of the way, because let's face it, that has been a fascination of yours since the Blade Show where you got that knife.
Yeah, it is. I have an Emerson CQC 10 that
Well,
I use.
It started out life that way.
It's a CQC 10. And I carry that every day in the shop, and I abuse the ever-living snot out of that knife. And it started life as a chisel grind. It's now a Scandi.
And like a quarter-inch narrower than it used to be.
And my goal is to eventually get the grind to the hole that is in the middle of the blade. And I'm going to give it back to Ernie Emerson and say, thank you.
Yeah, you've used that a lot. It's a great knife.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
It is very comfortable, like even still with the wonky Scandi ground blade.
One of these days, I'm gonna truly Scandi it.
I think I did jig it one time, or Yorgied it. I put it in one of those Yorgie clamps and tried that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a great knife. I like it a lot.
Who's
All the
going?
stuff's cool, though.
Yeah,
Right
for
on.
sure.
Hey, who's up?
I think Scooter.
Go ahead, Sammy.
Well, growing up, we always had knives and always played with stuff, but I never really had a huge fascination with them. I mean, my uncle one time gave me a box of, in fact, Nick's got one in his hand, a bunch of these little tiny folders that he collected from somewhere. And I mean a full, shoebox, just full of all of these knives. And I would sit down and play with all of them, try to sharpen them and cut and stuff. But, we had our hunting knives. Other than that, never really got into knives a whole lot until I started working here. I didn't really know, what there was. I knew at the time that my uncle made knives. I just didn't know that he was this awesome knife maker. I mean, I'd never seen a whole lot of his stuff. But, of course, once I started working here, it changed my whole view on things. I went from never having a knife in my pocket to never not having a knife in my pocket.
It's funny how it changes your view of the world. Like, you can never look at a knife the same way ever again.
Yeah. You'll never catch me now without at least 2 knives and a multi-tool on me at all times. But before, if I had a knife, it was an odd thing. I must be out in the woods doing something. Very rarely did I carry anything. But my first hunting knife, I think, and I'm sure it probably wasn't a hunting knife, but it was I don't remember what model it was, but it was a buck. It was one of the folding knives. You have one. I think it's in the Kydex room.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was my first hunting knife. I processed many a squirrel with that knife. But that thing, I thought it was fantastic. It was my favorite. And then I got, of course, it was a buck again. We talked about it last time, that green-handled with the saw on the back.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That was the next step. And from there, I went right into a GNS. I think I just skipped through a whole bunch of stuff and I never looked back.
That was very cool. The Buck 110, Elaine bought me one for Christmas when we, early on in our marriage. That was my Christmas gift one year, and I was just tickled to death because I had always liked the Buck 110. I had the 124, and I had probably numerous other Bucks. I don't know the number. And mainly I was carrying Buck stuff because that's what my dad used. I liked it. It was cool. And a Buck 110 was just one of those knives you just wanted to have. And then, I carried that for years and years. It was such a great knife.
That knife is so iconic. You can really say folding knife just about anywhere in this country and in lots of other parts of the world, it seems like. And people will, draw you a picture of something that looks like a 110 because it's so well known and so iconic that way. And it really is. It's a great quality knife too.
Oh yeah, I like it a lot. I would still carry it. I mean, I carry our liner lock, but it's still a great woods knife. I think I have one in a pack in one of my packs at home that are, my go bags.
Yeah.
Just kind of wrap your head around the idea of how many buck knives there really are in the world.
Oh man, lots for sure.
I've seen tons of them in my lifetime.
I mean, and then there's the collector scene where, I had a guy at a gun show in Chantilly, Virginia, explain to me that at one point the back lock bar on some 110s was made out of brass. And I don't remember all the details of this, but evidently that was a really rare, really collectible item. And he happened to have one there. He was sort of trying to sell me on it, but I don't know. It almost seemed like he wanted to keep it in his collection too. But just one of those knives that has a really interesting history too, it seems like.
Yeah, that would be I'd like to see one. That'd be cool.
It was different for sure. It was a unique color.
Do you ever see those things you can buy to put them and make them a one-hand opener?
Yeah, the little thumb stud thing.
But
It's like
yeah,
a
but
little stud
it clips on the back
yeah,
of the blade
it's like
or
a little
something.
clamp.
Yeah, those are interesting.
And then now with their, I guess they have a custom. Well, I know they have a custom shop. My wife actually got me a custom 110 for Christmas last year.
There you go.
Desert Ironwood CPM, or not CPM, S30V blade, nickel bolsters.
Nice.
It's pretty shiny.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, Sammy. Sorry about stealing your time. Keep
Yeah.
That's all right. That was about all I got. My fascination with knives didn't really begin until I started working here.
You're
Yeah,
really
you're still
fascinated
young.
with cars, though.
Yeah, I enjoy
Yeah.
those too.
Cool.
All right, who's up?
Scooter, you want to flip a coin?
Well, let's see here. It started when I was 5, and I'd run around the house with a butter knife tucked in my pants because I too watched Tarzan, but it must have been reruns.
Well, I watched reruns too. Johnny Weissmuller was black and white
Oh,
stuff.
I thought you meant you were like on set.
Oh, yeah,
He was
that's good.
Tarzan's stunt
Yeah,
double.
I was a stunt double.
You
Uh-huh.
have all that.
I was the
I
pot-bellied
gotta
stunt
give you a
double.
hard time.
Wait, which Tarzan did you watch? Do you remember? Was it the Ron Eli ones?
No, it was Johnny
Oh, it was Johnny Weissmuller?
Weissmuller? Yeah,
Weissmuller, yeah.
That guy.
So the black and white ones.
Oh, for sure, black and white.
Right on.
And then the old man got me my first pocket knife, which I stuck in my hand.
Like
Because
through
I
it?
was not through, but into for sure. And because I was taking, me and the 2 kids up the street would play with the little green army men and the trucks, and we had a a beater coffee table down in the game room in the basement, and we would set up the guys and the trucks and dirt and trees and all kind of stuff, and then we'd stand back 10, 20 feet or whatever, and we'd have wars and with gun bands, and I shoot your guys and you shoot my guys, and so we'd have wars. So I think I was trying to modify one of my guys by cutting one of his arms off,
He was custom. Or wounded.
and then it
Well,
slipped
bionic
off
man.
the
Needed some
hard
medic
plastic.
help.
I'm sure because his knife wasn't sharp, but was pointy. And I stuck it in my hand, and we both got in trouble. Mom took the knife, never saw it again. And then fast forward to Rambo. And that was big.
First Blood. Like that, Rambo?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
And then Rambo 2, 3, Rambo 27, however many there are now.
I really don't know. I don't know what
I mean, how
number
could
we're
you
at.
not
I think
be...
we're on Rambo 4 for last bullet.
But when Rambo first came out, now I'm not, I'm a grown up by then, but still, how could you not still want a big knife? Seriously. So it definitely kind of goes, yeah, I want that. That
I
was like
still-
for me as a kid, the Alamo, when you see the Jim Bowie, you're like, I gotta have it.
I got you.
I still have my first hollow-handled, fake survival knife somewhere in the
I see.
basement.
What company made it?
China.
Not so much a company, but more of a country. And it wasn't this one.
Gotcha.
But it was fine. It was, I'm sure every time I had it out, I took the cap off, looked at the compass, never fished, of course, with the stuff in there, but I looked at it. It had a little sharpening stone in a pocket on the front, and a little fishing kit in there, and matches, and all kind of stuff. Your typical survival knife, Rambo-ish.
I can't say I owned one of them, but I can say I wanted one. Because
I'll bring mine in and we can play with it.
That would be good.
I mean, even as a grown-up, it's like, who doesn't want a Billy Jack hat?
I don't know
I
what that
hated
is.
those movies.
All right, well, maybe
Sorry,
I
bud.
do.
I'm just, right? A Rambo knife, Billy Jack hat.
I didn't want that hat.
Let's just get it out of the way. I didn't like, what was that other one either? Oh, Jeremiah Johnson. I didn't like that movie.
Wow.
I do, however, love Tombstone and
Turn your mic off.
You
get
know, you
out.
said that.
Last of the
Just walk away
Mohicans.
now.
That was recorded. The thing you just said.
I will go on record. There's just something about it. It doesn't do
How
anything
can you
for
not
me.
like Jeremiah Johnson?
It just, again,
Does it
I
help
like.
if you know that RW made the tomahawks? And
No. You barely see them. It's kind of.
So you didn't like
maybe
Rambo?
that was part of it. No, honestly, I didn't. But
Again, how can you not like Rambo?
Why are you here?
hey,
Why
now.
It's a guy in the woods with a knife.
Eh. I like Dirty Harry. He was cool, and he had a switchblade.
In this day and age, Rambo would be coined a domestic terrorist.
Yeah, it's not.
Well,
It was still a cool movie.
I believe it. I
Nice.
believe it.
So is Jeremiah Johnson.
So where did you go from Rambo?
Rambo there was a long
That was a long
patch
period.
of Rambo, which included going in the woods and playing with the knives and swinging on a vine and breaking my arm and all kind of fun stuff.
Did you have the Rambo
Really?
headband?
No, just the knife.
The poncho thing.
No, I did not make a burlap poncho out of a tractor trailer. I did not use truck seats for a poncho. I would take my mountain bike down there, or maybe my bike before that, which was a chrome 50-pound Pittsburgh Steelers bike from Sears, but then the mountain bike.
Pittsburgh Steelers bike.
So you're saying Rambo broke your arm?
Oh, it was definitely Sylvester Stallone's fault.
Wow.
That's the story I'm going with.
I feel like there's a lawsuit coming.
Yeah, I think maybe we should go ahead and make clear that we do not hold
If he
Sylvester
sends
Stallone
me
accountable
one
for
autographed
anything.
watch that he owns, we're cool.
It's going to be fine.
Ain't you first, bud?
Yep, there was a lot of Rambo, and then it just rolled on from there. Not anything real specific, but most of the time I probably had a knife on me. The problem was I could never get them as sharp as they were when they came out of the box. And so I'd get another knife. I would try. I had a stone. I had the stone on the survival knife, and I don't know how to use it. So that didn't work good. The old man was good at fixing cars, not sharpening knives, so he wasn't going to teach me. Until one year I was working at the bike shop, and I went deer hunting with my buddy Jim, and some guy pulled out the Lansky sharpening system. And I'm like, what are you doing there? Oh, I'm sharpening my knife for tomorrow. Oh, let me see that. So I'd never seen one of those before. And when he got done, that knife was sharp. So I said, you got to show me how to do that. So that's the first time that sharpening wise anyway, that I had this is close to when it was new. This is pretty good. The light bulb started to flicker in my head there, but no sharpening compared to, of course, when I start working here and messing up those meat market knives. I mean, sharpening the meat market knives.
Well, I remember when I first got turned on to the Lanskys, because I think I'm trying, after the regular sharpening stone, I think the next step up for me was a Lansky too. And I bought you bought the little case and it came with the stones. Mm-hmm. And then they also had a pedestal that you could mount the thing on. And I ended up getting the whole thing at one point in my life.
Stones, I think, yeah.
And then you clamp it. I think it even came with its own C-clamp to clamp it to your kitchen table so you could sharpen your knives.
You must have had the deluxe kit.
I did. I had a really good one. And
I
man,
had the
it would
not
take
deluxe
forever.
kit.
Is that when you really started to
yeah.
make your wife super happy when you were clamping?
Yeah, you clamp down your knife sharpening system to the kitchen table.
Wait, was it
Was
this
it this
table
one?
that
Yeah,
we're
it was
sitting
probably
at?
this table.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, we had this in Virginia, so yeah, probably was this one. And I worked it off from there.
This table's got some
But the
miles on it.
Lansky's, man, that was if you don't know how to sharpen, those things are great. They got the rods, put them on the angle and go.
Yeah, that's like that wicked system that we used to see at the blade.
Kind of. That's like the steroid version of the Lansky sharpener. It seems like now.
Because actually, for me, when I graduated from the Lansky, it was, well, first my dad showed me how to do it on an Arkansas stone or whatever stone it was, and again, I could never get it as sharp as it was when I first got the knife. Even then, on a stone, the Lansky I did much better, and I graduated from a Lansky to the RW method. So
That's a big leap.
Kind of where I went.
Like going
My
from
sharpening always came about backwards. I was always taught how to sharpen chisels on whetstones, so I tried to do that on knives, and it never really worked. That's why I give my knives to Nich and Scott to sharpen.
There you go.
Cool. There is actually, I just looked it up. There is a whole page dedicated to the first blood knife from the Rambo movies. They have like production photos and everything of the first one, and Sylvester Stallone standing here with Jimmy Lau.
Jimmy Lau,
Yeah. Actually holding the knife. It
He
seems
might
like
have
a
done the
cool
first two.
story. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, now it's going to make you want to go back and watch the movie again.
Nah, I think I'm good. Thanks, though. I can definitely appreciate the artistry there, though. It's a cool thing.
Oh, heck yeah. That's what I'm saying. When you go to the movie and you see that thing, it was just awesome. That's why even the Alamo, it was either a movie or a movie of the week or a miniseries or a TV show, and I think it was called The Quest. And I think
Johnny Quest?
No, it was called The Quest
remember
or
that
Quest, and it was a story about two brothers and a sister that got separated somehow at birth, or when they were young, and one of the sons got raised by Indians. Well, later on in the movie, he had this real shiny Bowie knife, and that's how I can remember seeing that picture. When you guys said, "Hey, let's talk about where our fascination came from," that was another one of those things that just flashed into my mind. When I was a kid watching that show and watching that knife flash, Tarzan definitely started it. And
Yeah.
it was, there's no doubt I can't find anything else other than that to like as far back as I can remember. But I was really fascinated with Bowie knives. Love those things. Just
The Rambo knife, when the sheriff or whatever takes it out of the sheath in the police station because they just picked them up, and he's turning it and looking at it, and it's a black handle and a black knife, but the blade sharpened edge is kind of high, and you can see it glinting in the light. Like, what's this for? Hunting. What do you hunt with? This, I don't know what he said. Elephants? I don't know what he said, but
then he cut a piece of
it
paper.
caught your
didn't
eye
he?
for sure.
Didn't he cut
Oh
a piece
yes,
of
he
paper?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as thin as we use, but yeah, he did cut a piece of paper.
Yeah, that was very, very cool, the Rambo stuff.
Who was that guy that played the villain in Rambo? The sheriff guy.
Brian Dennehy.
Because I know him from Silverado, and there were no cool knives in that movie, but he's always a good actor, it seems like. Or
Oh,
was.
yeah,
I don't know
he's
if he's still alive or not. Tangent,
I think
sorry.
he is. You want to win $1 bet LT if Jerry Lee Lewis is still alive.
Oh, is
I
that
already
so?
lost $1 on
For
it.
those of you that haven't, I don't think we've gone over this on the podcast yet, but betting $1 is a thing around here, and it can get really intense and fun sometimes.
It's taken very seriously.
It is indeed taken very seriously by all parties, but
I try not to lose.
how we it's part of how
I
we
refuse to spend
settle.
the dollars that I win. I keep them in my desk.
Oh, I have one at home that is just, it's like there with the piece of paper that was part of the question.
Is that the first time you want to bet with LT?
Yep. Yep, sure is.
I just learned not to bet him because I'll go broke.
I got 2 above my desk.
That's right. You pin them up
I
to
just
the wall.
recycle them. I try not to lose them as much as I can if I can keep moving forward.
But that's a thing. That's a thing. So if you ever stop in to visit us here, you should.
Not bet anyone a dollar.
Yeah,
Don't
don't. Yep, because we take it seriously.
There's not a lot of losing that goes on.
unless you're me. That's okay.
Unless you're Sam, and then you buy coffee for a week and a half and don't drink any of it.
2 things to remember. Don't bet anyone a dollar, and don't enter into a 3-way trade with Nick.
Yeah.
Oh,
That second part's more
ouch.
important than the dollar.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
You
No
trade
kidding,
2 guys, 2
I
things.
didn't even get
one
anything
time.
out of that trade.
You
I got
weren't
nothing.
involved.
I was. I had to make a fire
Nonsense.
steal and pay for it.
You know, the
No.
sad part is when you make a trade with Nick and he tells you to pay someone else.
I've done that
I
too.
know.
That's how I got my Ulimde.
You know what? A lot of people though come away from my trades happy. So you know what? That's just,
You
With less
maybe.
money.
Yeah.
Who are they?
Yeah. Do you have names?
Who are these people
They're
you
proof.
keep referring to?
Oh, geez.
Oh well.
All right. Well, hey, focus for a second. Let's get back onto the knives. Anything else from your early years?
I went through the Swiss Army knife phase. I still have 8 of them, I'm sure, tucked away in various bags and
I've
bags.
seen you find them in cases and bags that you were like,
Mhm.
I didn't.
I stash them.
Yeah.
They're $20.
There you
He's
go.
like a chipmunk.
I stash them.
Yeah, but those are always nice to have around.
I also stash 20s.
Oh
'cause
yeah.
you never know.
Oh boy, I'm gonna start going through your things with a finer
When-
comb.
I
That's
have.
what Michelle supports that new car. She just washes all of Scott's clothes.
Oh geez.
I got some hidden in a Tad Gear jacket. I know. I got
Not
some hidden in
anymore.
my.
Let me hold on. Let me get
I
a
got
piece of
some
paper. I'll
hidden in
make
the
some notes here. Maybe I'll draw.
You
like
never
a
know.
treasure
I must have needed gas money and was out one time in the mighty Chevette, so I probably started stashing money after that.
Oh, we know who's buying lunch tomorrow.
Yeah, I wonder if you could fit a 20 under a Swiss Army knife scale. Like if you could fold it up and fit it under there. That might be cool.
Never
Do
had
you
any
know,
skills
Scooter?
though.
No.
You would have to do some kind of like crazy ironing fold.
Hey, I have a Dremel tool. I could make a space big enough for it.
Hmm?
I think that's it.
Sounds like a gambler upgrade. The $20 hidden.
Oh
scale
jeez.
pocket.
No.
There's already stuff going on there. Yeah.
Now, you know, back when I was doing the kid thing when I was younger.
You mean
Doing
having
the
children?
kid
No, no.
Being a
When I was-
child,
when I was
having
a
a
kid.
child. What are we talking
Well,
about?
You know, you always think you collect stuff, or at least I thought I was a knife collector when I was very young, and I had old Uncle Henry's. Is that what? Right, the little folders. I remember them. I'm sure I had case
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm sure I had queen stuff and charade stuff. And I'd have multiple this, that, and the other. Well, I didn't really have a place to keep them, so I kept them between the mattress and the box springs of my bed. Because then that was also my safe where I kept stuff. So I had my big knives, small knives, nunchaku, all that stuff was there. But it was also my home security thing. Now, being, a 10, 11-year-old kid, I don't know what you're going to home
Man.
security, but
I could
You know,
totally
someone-
For
picture
when the greatest
you.
American hero
Right.
breaks in.
No, I could
Yeah.
totally picture you as a small child with nunchucks, and somebody comes busting through the door, and out come those nunchucks, and you got that Bruce Lee moment.
Could you sleep in a yellow jumpsuit?
yeah, no. But I can, now that you're the same friend that I used to run around in the woods with, and we'd play Tarzan, about what, 72, 73, Enter the Dragon comes out, and we see a TV commercial.
Now that movie I
So
love.
somehow I proceeded to convince myself that those nunchaku that he was swinging, I can make these. And went down the basement, and I found a dog chain and some copper pipe. Now I'm not kidding you. This is
gonna end
fact. Now wait a minute.
painfully.
And him and I cut this dog chain with a hacksaw my dad had, and we shoved it in this copper pipe and beat the end down with a hammer, and then folded over the other
The
end.
amount of engineering ingenuity going on.
Okay, now this worked because think how a dog chain is. Like each link is like this.
Yeah.
So once you bend it over the flat spot, it's not going to come up over that thing again, right? So I think they might have been 2 foot long pipe though, because I didn't know anything about it.
That's a
You just
lot
saw it
of
on a TV
momentum
commercial.
right
I hadn't
there.
even seen the movie. Right?
That's a
So-
lot of
That's
momentum.
gonna hurt when you catch it in the arm.
Or the head.
Anyway, I don't think we knew what to do with them other than just
Swing
beat
'em
trees
around.
with them.
Oh.
And I don't think we each fought each other with them. I don't believe we
Right.
did.
Wow, I
Big.
hope not.
But now we got this really cool Tarzan thing going on, right? And a little bit of Bruce Lee going on. Because again, here I am, 10 years old, 11 years old.
Tarzan nunchucks.
Yeah. Well, now think of it. Can you picture it though? Copper tubing and dog chain.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's in my brain.
You
Great.
swinging it on a vine, swinging. But
I don't know if I could do that. I'm not that coordinated. But I could swing them by themselves. And I honestly don't ever remember hitting myself with those in the face.
Oh, you'd remember.
That's
I'm
because
sure.
you hit hard. That's why you don't
Man.
remember.
I'm telling you what, you could take that copper pipe and just, wow, it would just wax them. It was a great machete. It just cut the weeds down like crazy. It was fantastic. Man, did we have so much fun with those
I think we
stupid
should
little
make a
knives
set.
and those copper nunchucks.
I bet I can put that in Kydex.
Kydex
man.
Can you make it scout
nunchaku.
Probably.
Can we make it yellow to match the jumpsuit?
Sure.
Nice.
So my fascination started with Tarzan and hanging out in the catalogs. It was fun. We'd like to know where your fascination came from. And we're going to go to Nich.
And yes, for those of you listening, he did just totally forget that I had
Well, I
not
was trying
gone
to
over
count
mine
below.
yet. Anyway, so for me, I really didn't start being fascinated with knives through any movie or anything. It was actually through some people that I was around when I was young, very young. Specifically, my uncle, my mother, and my father. My mom worked at a gun store in Washington, PA, and they also sold knives. So there was a lot of Swiss Army knives and things there. My uncle, though, was and still is today a big knife collector / connoisseur. He likes his Benchmades and Spydercos and Emersons and all that, and that was something that I always found fascinating. And then my dad, he had an old case. I forget what one it was, but it was something like what LT was talking about earlier, where it was a leather stacked handle and stainless steel, hollow ground. And I remember just looking at that knife, and it was like just something about it, something super duper fascinating. And
They were cool designs.
I don't know. I mean, ever since I can remember, I've always loved knives. I mean, just the concept of them, having them, carrying them, taking care of them, just the whole deal. And I think I was about 4 years old when my dad got me my first knife, which was an Imperial. Well, it's this knife right here. It's a little teeny tiny lockback knife, stainless steel plastic handles. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They have the big yellow rectangle on the one side. And I carried this for a long time. When I got this, it actually fit my hand.
We'll pass it around.
Yeah. But yeah.
Sure.
And then I think my uncle got me a Leatherman. It was one of the really tiny ones.
did I mention I love Leathermans?
You did. And I'm pretty certain my mom, right around that same time, gave me my first Swiss Army knife. And it wasn't the normal, classic. It was just a blade and a file instead of the scissors. So it was an interesting pattern. I still have all
This
those
is crap,
knives.
Nick.
That you believe? I mean,
If this fit
I
your
have
hand
not
when you
sharpened it.
got it,
You could use a sharpen.
it's
That's
a
for sure.
two-finger job.
it is basically flat.
This
but,
looks a lot like the one I stuck in my hand. Let me see if it fits the scar. Holy crap, it does.
But that was where it all started for me.
Interesting.
But yeah. So no movies.
How did you not lose it?
I was very.
I know that is.
It's
I
got that
was
hook on the
very
back. You put a piece of
careful.
rope
It's
in
this
there.
little high visibility
Nope.
square on it.
I did lose my first Leatherman. I confess to that one, and it made me super duper sad. And it also sent me on a quest to find a new Leatherman, which has since turned into many Leathermans. But I still have my first Swiss Army knife, and I still have that one, my very first knife. But yeah. I do love knives in movies. I know there's a handmade automatic knife in John Wayne movie, Big Jake. I always thought that was cool. He actually throws it into a tree at one point, which is a little scary. but
It's the Duke. You can do anything.
still pretty neat. Let's see, what was another one? I don't know. More recently, there was a movie called The Hunted, and that had some interesting knives in it. I know people talk about that quite a lot.
Because he made a knife out of stone.
He did. He napped a knife. But yeah, I just love them. I'm just always, I don't know. It's my thing. So, I've always loved knives.
You are the knife, Nick.
Yeah.
Well, it's like after you get that fascination and you get started, it's not one knife is the best knife kind of thing, and you end up having
Right.
multiple knives. It's like in the Jeep, if I'm thinking, I bet there's a machete and at least 4 knives scattered somewhere within the Jeep, and probably in my backpacks at home, because why take a knife from pack to pack, right?
Sure. Especially
I'm
when you have
sure
so many
there's
good ones to choose from.
A knife of some kind, even if it's just a Swiss Army knife of some kind, in each one of those packs.
And
I'm that way with Leathermans. I have Leathermans everywhere.
do you have any of the TSA safe ones with no blades?
No, but I really want them to come up with a custom program where you can go and say, I want XYZ accessories on this side and XYZ accessories on that side.
That'd be cool. I would buy
Because I
that.
got really excited when they had their customized program on their website, and really all it is you can get stuff laser engraved on the outside.
Mm.
I was like,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
still
what
cool.
It is
Sure.
cool, but I wanted them to say, like, pick all the stuff on the right side of your leather and pick all the stuff on the left side of your leather.
Yeah.
What EOD?
Or what
Preference.
tools, yeah. Well, I mean, another part of it for me too definitely was the sharpening thing, like what Scott was talking about, and I never could really get that dialed in. I did some knife making before I started working here, like a little bit, where I forged a few knives and did some things like that, but I never could get the sharpening stuff dialed in until Scott showed me how he does it, and that sort of changed the whole dynamic of that for me. So I gained a whole new appreciation for the tools that I love, basically.
Not to segue too much, but
Mm.
I was on an old computer at my house the other day,
Oh,
and I found the original video of him at R.W. Wilson's house learning to sharpen the first time.
awesome.
There was no proof of that.
Is that the one where he bends the hair over?
Might have been.
That's interesting.
Filmed on an iPhone 3.
I thought you were going to say like one of those
No,
old.
probably was an iPhone 3.
Man.
Could be. I was too busy cutting my hand with the
And now
knife to
his
sharpen.
iPhone has 3 cameras.
It's the circle of life.
Ah,
An iPhone 3 to 3 cameras on your iPhone.
gotcha.
And it's the iPhone
Okay,
11.
what are those 3 dots on the back of your iPhone?
They're
Did he
for-
get a new phone?
for
Yeah,
cameras.
he,
He's got an 11.
he always gets a new phone, but
He didn't tell me about that.
That's where he and Michelle went camping.
outside the Apple store on the sidewalk.
I've done that.
I know you have.
I'm
I
not
know.
proud.
That's really, I think, why Scooter has a pretty well built overlanding rig himself, and I think that's part of it is so that he can camp out for
not
the
then.
Apple stuff.
I was me in a blanket on the sidewalk.
Was it back in the Miata days?
I don't remember what
No,
I
I
had.
think that. Well, no, I think it was sort of during. But yeah,
I don't know. That was
The Miata phase
I
has
don't know.
transcended time itself.
Oh, gotcha.
the motorcycle phase.
make
of,
fun.
Of
The Miata's
Scooter.
a fun little car.
Boy, we got real off topic again.
It's okay. We're allowed to have
One
tangents.
of the guys on the Powhouse would like you
Uh-oh.
to make the first LTWK multi-tool.
Oh,
and
snap.
this is what they want. They want the Gambler,
Uh-huh.
but with like 4 blades, same thing. And I think he said, finally, we can get to the bottom of which is better, A2, D2, O1.
And all on different grinds, so Scandi, silver, flat.
This could
See
be a lot
what,
of
see what
blades.
you can do with that.
Yeah, as silly as that may sound, we could maybe pull something off.
Could be something interesting to just take to a show and say,
Look what we
here
did.
are the grinds and the steels.
Hey, I mean, in the slip joint
Like
world,
paint chips.
they've made the Stockman for years, and it has. How many blades have you seen on? Like, some Stockmans have lots of
Oh, yeah,
blades.
Oh, 2.
Little blade, big
Maybe
blade,
more, yes.
sideways blade.
I know we already talked about slip joints, man. I'm happy with a single blade trapper. I can do that, or even just like I don't know, what's one of a canoe? Is that a 2-blade one?
Yeah, the canoe
One
is
out
2
each
blade.
side.
See, I always like the
Such
jacks.
a great knife.
Like all the different jacks. I pretty much really dug those. But yeah.
I was a fan of the Sodbuster, just that one like
Yeah.
purpose-built big old blade.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice straightforward pattern.
So there's, man, I've owned a lot of different slip joints over the years too, and now that's something I am handy at losing.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know how or why.
In all
but
fairness, I have lost a
slip
slip joint as well. But yeah.
And then when you lose your Sunday knife, man, that upset me. But you know what? The pants you wear on Sundays are dress pants, shallow pockets. There's no Velcro.
That's
lid on
true.
your pocket
That's
like
very
on-
true.
You lost that custom knife that you bought off Greg.
No.
Oh.
That I still have. No. it was
I know
one
which
of
one
those-
he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is I've lost multiple knives though in dress pants because they just don't stay in there. They slide right out.
You need someone to make you like a Kydex thing for them to go in.
Well, they, you know,
Or
with a
this
slip
really
joint, it
fancy
didn't have a
leather
pocket
sheath that you
lip
got for
or
the
pocket
Gamblers.
clip, and well, again, didn't really have a leather slip for it. I know now that I'm older that I shouldn't do that.
More seasoned.
And as you found in the recliner, when we got rid of one of our couches a number of years ago and we flipped it up to carry it through the door, one of my yellow jackets, which is a slip joint, fell out of the couch. So one day in my youth when I was taking a nap, it fell out of my pocket and got in the couch somewhere somehow. And then luckily it just flipped out and it fell right on the ground. I went, oh my gosh, I lost that 7, 8 years ago.
See, if you flipped over my couch, you'd find a bunch of Sharpies. Just every now and again, you know, you drop something, you reach for it. I'm like, oh, there's like 6 Sharpies down in here.
Yep.
Right on.
That's something that we use in the shop a whole bunch.
Oh, absolutely.
Up on the washer of laundered Sharpies.
Ooh.
Some of them still work though.
Yeah,
All right.
Sharpies are good though.
Well, hey, that takes care of our fascination with knives, kind of where we started. Right?
Scooter, you
Wait,
look
did I
so
miss something?
confused. What's the matter?
I know you looked at me like, wait, I
I
didn't
don't
go
know. I
yet.
looked up and you're all looking at me. I didn't do it. I didn't do it this
I was
time.
I
thinking-
actually thought you might have fallen asleep.
Well, this time I actually
just
did
sitting-
make sure everyone was done.
You know,
Is everybody
I think
you
so.
got?
you're so
Right?
quiet though, Sam. I mean, you've been
What?
so quiet.
That's all right. Y'all can talk.
Well, we wanted to share where our fascination, because somebody had asked us about that, like where did you start getting into it? Now that was way before any of us worked here or owned a knife company or
yeah.
anything like that. It just like where was that fascination started? So if you get the opportunity, drop us a line. Let us know where your fascination started. Hopefully, 1 or 2 of them will be with our LTWK brand stuff. So that's cool.
That would be cool. And
Right
then,
on.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see where other people got their interest in knives peaked. And, yeah.
And if you need to check out the old episodes, make sure you listen on our website or on your various podcast flavors
Wherever
that
you
like.
find them.
Yep. Mike has it just about everywhere, and we're going to try to do one a month. We're picking subject matter. Definitely knives are going to be in that subject matter, but it's just guys getting around talking, and we hope you're enjoying them. These help you pass some time during your work day, your evenings, relaxing, however you want to do it. And drop us a line, tell us what you think, and each time it's going to get better and better and better.
Heck yeah.
So thanks for tuning into a Shack and LTWK podcast, guys. We'll see you again. God bless you.
Someone to tell her
Bye.
and what I need from you right now is someone to tell her